Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Status Town Hall number 87. I'm Eduardo, Marketing Manager at Status, and it's a pleasure to bring you the updates. From our blog, we have a new blog post, and it's about DeFi. What is DeFi, and how does it impact your future? This blog post was written by a pretty talented Brazilian ambassador, Susie. So thank you, Susie, for your contribution on educating the community on DeFi. And please, everyone, check it out. The blog post looks pretty good. So our agenda today, we'll start talking about the EOS Redistribution. Then we'll talk about the Status Ambassador numbers and updates. Alec will bring us some metrics as usual, and also Jacob will bring us the infrastructure updates. So now it's over to Hester to talk about the EOS redistribution.
Thank you, Eduardo. Yeah, fortunate enough to bring you some good news. I know some members of the community have definitely been waiting for. So we're finally ready to pay forward some of the ENS governance tokens that we received. Bit of a backstory about that. As you might know, you can use ENS inside Status. You can also use register and use a stateofus.eth name rather than a .eth ENS name. Status integrated that subdomain and ENS in 2018, which was shortly after it was released. And as an acknowledgement for early integration of ENS, we received 46,296 ENS tokens when the ENS team dropped their governance token back in November. It seemed fair to distribute that amount to the people that have actually bought and used these names. And so Corey wrote a proposal already a while back on how to redistribute these tokens to the community. That's a proposal that you can find on Snapshot. I'll say here that it was at the time accepted with 99.9% of the weight of all votes. Yeah, very well supported. And based on that proposal, both Petty and Gravity Blast have worked on a contract and a dApp to actually redistribute these tokens. So that was the hard part, I'd say. This is something we weren't prepared for. So that was an additional project that kind of came in from the sidelines that needed to happen. So major kudos for Petty and Gravity Blast for making that happen. At this point, contract is deployed, dApp is deployed, and so we are pretty much ready for redistribution to start. Can you go to the next slide, please, Eduardo? So what does that mean for you? If you've registered a stateofus.eth name sometime before October 31st in 2021, you are eligible for ENS redistribution. So only if you've registered a stateofus.eth name before October 31st. And this has to do with the snapshot that the ENS team used for their drop. The amount that you receive, if you're eligible, is weighted by time. So the longer that you've held a stateofus.eth name, the more ENS you'll receive. And again, that's something that was specified in the proposal on Snapshot. Consider this an announcement. You will be able to start claiming from July 5th onwards for a period of 3 months. So we'll unpause the contract and you will be able to go onto the dApp and claim your tokens starting coming Tuesday. So mark your calendar for that. Check out our blog post, which should be out on blog.status.im, and check out Discuss as well, where you'll find a category with frequently asked questions, anything to do with the ENS redistribution. Note there, and I'll come back to it, but don't forget to delegate. ENS is a governance token. We would warmly recommend our own Simpop, Simona, as a delegate for ENS. So once you've claimed the tokens, please do go and delegate those tokens so they can be used for governance as well. Can you go to the next slide, please, Eduardo, where I'll walk through how the claim process works with this video running in the background. Fairly straightforward. Recommended to use the status app because it's most likely that the account you use to register a state of us.eth name also lives inside the status app because that's where the functionality was. So recommended to use the status app. Go to the browser, go to this URL, which we'll make sure is in the blog post and you can find it. Connect your wallet to that dApp and you'll see whether or not you're eligible for tokens. In this case, we see this person's eligible for tokens. You hit claim and you sign a transaction. Please know that you do need to pay for gas when you sign a transaction. You're transmitting a transaction on chain to claim the tokens. So please make sure you have some ETH in your wallet to do that. That's it, fairly straightforward. It might take a while for the tokens to show in your wallet. That's normal. If you want to see instantly that they've arrived, you can go into settings in your wallet and scan tokens just to make sure that they appear instantly. But you'll be able to see them a bit later as well in your wallet. That's it. Don't forget to delegate. And yeah, mark your calendar for what will be tomorrow, Tuesday, July 5th. You can start claiming your ENS if you have registered a state of us.eth name before October 31st, 2021. Thanks, Eduardo.
Thank you very much, Hester. That's great news for all ENS name holders on stateofus.eth subdomain. So thank you very much for this. Okay, now let's talk about status ambassador numbers for this month. So in June, we had 44 completed tasks by our amazing ambassador community around the world. 8 of those tasks were meetups and webinars, and you can see some images from the events there. Events in Nigeria, Uganda, and India. Thank you very much for all our great ambassadors working on this. As I mentioned before, we have a blog post completely written by a Brazilian ambassador, Suzy. What is DeFi and how does it impact your future? We had some status memes published by ambassadors. We had plenty of social media promotions and also swag production by ambassadors to use on the meetups. And we also had our local Twitter channels, Status Philippines, Status India, and Status Brazil, retweeting all the main account status tweets and also tweeting some specific things about their community and their language. So make sure to follow them. And for June, our ambassadors also helped us with the status application translation for Korean, Japanese, simplified Chinese, Tagalog, and Hindi. So thank you for this. Also more blog posts, tweets, and presentation slides for the meetups that we had, and status desktop integration on GitHub. Thank you again for our amazing ambassador community. If you think you can help Status bringing all of these updates to your local community, make sure to sign up as an ambassador. We have available spots for that. Check our website on how to sign up. The next item on our agenda is to pass the word to Alec, and he will bring us some metrics updates about and numbers about the application. Over to you, Alec.
Thank you, Eduardo. Hello, everyone. Let's start with app installs. This year, we have had over 1,062,000 app installations so far, around 3,500 per day in the last couple of weeks. We are going to slightly increase the pace here. Out of 103,000 application installations that we got in the last 4 weeks, over 10% came from Algeria, which is interesting. Let's move on to the next slide and see how this has affected our user base. So like always, installed audiences. This is metrics showing how many Google Play users have the status app installed on their Android devices. So right now we are seeing a slowdown in growth in the summer. Currently, our application is used by over 680,000 Google Play users. Let's move to the next slide and check where they come from. Mali, Algeria, and Pakistan, that's our top 3 for now. We've got over 48% users. 48% of our users come from Africa, 27% from Asia, over 16 from South America, a little over 6 in North America, and over 2% from Europe. Let's move to the next slide. As a result of the slowdown I mentioned, we are currently hovering around 11,000 daily active users. Let's go to the next slide. These are things to remember. So over 1 million app installs, over 680,000 Google Play users, and over 11,000 daily active users. That's it from me for today. Thank you for your attention, and back to you, Eduardo.
Thank you, Alec. It's great to see our application being used all around the world and helping lots of people. The last item on the agenda today is passing the word to Jacob that is bringing us some infrastructure updates.
Hey, people. In terms of infrastructure, we had a launch of Sepolia testnet, which was mostly successful, but we didn't cover some issues in the integration between Geth and Nimbus nodes, which is now fixed, specifically the lack of engine API, which is worth noting when you deploy your own nodes for testnets. We are rolling out the use of ERA files for Nimbus nodes, and we've already found a few issues with those, so that helps us stabilize that code. So if you're running multiple Nimbus nodes, ERA files will help you save some disk space by essentially sharing them across, for example, something like NFS or CIFS. We have a small improvement for doppelganger detection, which is worth noting, which is that you can specify in systemd service configuration to not restart the service on 1031 exit code, because if your node keeps restarting, that might actually nullify doppelganger detection, and it might cause your validators to get slashed. So that's worth actually taking into account when you set up your service. We have some improvements to the CI builds for Nimbus by splitting them more clearly between different platforms. And we have new metrics for Fluffy, which will help us with debugging for those nodes. We have a temporary solution for connecting Waku peers by using a systemd timer and a Python script, because both NimWaku and GoWaku don't have very advanced peer management setup or discovery right now. So we're just patching that with essentially discovering stuff through console and updating peers hourly. In terms of general infrastructure, we are rolling out SSHFP records for DNS to publicly deploy SSH keys, public SSH keys for hosts to avoid the need for manual approval of SSH keys for hosts. There's been some work on GitHub burnup charts, and it turns out that existing solutions like Redash or Superset don't really fit well with visualization of the data we want to visualize. We might need to essentially do a custom solution for that. We have general improvements in terms of log aggregation, which we used to have problems specifically because of the volume of logs from Nimbus. There's also been an issue with our backups because Ansible actually decided to change the number of iterations when you generate passwords using SHA-256 and 512, which is weird, but so that's worth taking account. Can I get the next slide? Yeah, thank you. In other news, we're still working on status go build failures that happen semi-randomly. They're not very frequent, but I've been trying to debug those, and I actually can't tell what the problem is. I've upgraded Go Mobile. That doesn't seem to have made a difference. I'm still trying to reproduce locally. It just seems purely random, which makes no sense considering we built it with Nix, but what can you do? There's ongoing work to do Squish UI tests for desktop. We have the licensing issues resolved, and now we're just essentially configuring it to run on Jenkins and produce proper reporting. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacob. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to follow EOS Status on Twitter, on Instagram. And as usual, we have a Discord server and we have a Status Town Hall questions channel on the Discord server and also on the Status application. If you have any question, any suggestion about next Town Hall editions, if there's anything you would like to see on the next Town Hall, make sure to go there and we'll definitely make your wish come true. Thank you very much again, and see you next time.